Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show was recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.
Hi, this is Cindy Cochran, and just want to thank you for listening. And remember, I'm live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m., and you can interact with the show through my Facebook page, The Cindy Cochran Show. It's real reality radio. Hey, give your ears a treat. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, and you know what Monday is? Monday means that you can actually reinvent yourself. This is a brand new week. Jake, it's a brand new week. Travis, Austin, Travis, whoever, Austin's with us in the house.
Austin's
Austin
in
McCombs.
Travis County.
Yeah,
so.
he's in Travis County. And Jake, the engineer, is here. And plus, I have a very special guest with me. It's not going to be a mystery guest because Jake will already tell.
I already ruined
is.
it in the weather and traffic.
I mean.
He's my favorite guest ever.
I know. Sam, the man, my husband, is going to be with us. And honey, you're going to have to put those headsets on and turn the volume up. That's right. He did have. Can you turn the volume up right there? See, and Mark and Kay Hader had their show, Hanging with the Haters, and that was a husband and wife, show.
Yeah.
And so this is the only place I can sit and I can tell Sam what to do. I just told him, get over there, and he'll listen to me. Now, if you'll take that microphone and pull that close to you. Then we can hear you. Closer.
That's good right there, Sam.
You can now tilt it down some.
See, the thing with the haters in that show, and
yeah.
If you ever want to go watch and see what their dynamic duo was like, we still have all their videos up on the YouTube page and connected through irlonestar.com. But, I think Sam enjoys at least the hour and 15-minute break from the Cindy lifestyle. And so when you're here, he gets his quiet time at home. He can enjoy reading his morning newspaper and cup of coffee while he lounges around.
Boy, if you could just get a shot of look at his face, that is not true.
He's smiling just thinking about it.
No, he begs me, please let me be on the show. Please let me be on the show. No, that's not true.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah. And I'll say, have you listened to the show today? But he once in a while will say, I listened to the show today. I don't know if it's just he mistakenly went past and, there it was. But at 9 a.m., the Cindy Cochran Show is on Suddenlink, Channel 12, Monday through Wednesday, and sometimes it's on Thursday. But I've seen it Monday through Wednesday on Suddenlink at 9 a.m. So then you can listen, you can watch it, a replay, on TV, and then hear it live at 10 a.m. on irlonestar.com, and then you can listen to the podcast on YouTube, that evening. So if you don't get enough of the Cindy Cochran Show, and we're everywhere, and we're on 106.1 in Conroe and 104.5 in New Waverly. And
so I spent a portion of this weekend with my family, and I was talking about you and your show.
Yeah.
And how much I enjoy engineering it. And they said, well, what is it like? What is the show like? And I said, well, you really have to just hear it for yourself. Yeah. So I played them a couple of my favorite. I played them a Friday episode from way back with Joey and I.
Yeah.
And it was the show where Joey and I were trying to create the JJ show and take over the 10 o'clock slot here.
Right.
And yeah, and they loved it. They didn't. And I told it it's like it's a train wreck, but with sparklers and fireworks going off with it. You love it.
You never know what to expect. That's what I always want. And Richard always kept trying to do the pie chart And so we know exactly what's coming up and what's going to happen and write it all out and all that. And I'm like, you're talking to the wrong place, and I don't do that kind of show. I do like whatever.
You're like a Mustang. You can't corral them.
Well, no, but I do, I would tell him, I said, I do a lot of show prep. I don't know what you think. It's not just because it's not written down and I don't have it. I didn't send you a type copy or email you all the stuff. I do show prep. I'm always reading and listening and watching and sleeping on it. So I don't know what he's talking about, making it seem like it's kind of disorganized. But what I wanted to talk about today, guys, that I teased in my Facebook page, is that we're going to talk about Bud the Parrot, who could be part of the conviction for the murder of his owner. He could be a witness to the murder of his owner. And this is the weirdest story I sent you. Did you get it?
Yes,
did you listen to the story?
I haven't listened to it yet,
Okay,
and I need to follow you on Facebook because you do a pretty good job of teasing things like that. So for all of the Cindy Cochran fan lovers,
yes,
follow her on Facebook at
the Cindy Cochran Show. Yeah, and in a lot of times I put stuff down there, and this is what I hope will happen. This is my hope. This is my dream, that it will come out this way. And so, but Bud the Parrot, we're going to talk about him later in the show because this is the weirdest story you will ever hear. It's just creepy, and it's a movie in the making. So, but I did want to talk this morning, first off, because of, Jake is the sports guy. And Jake is the sports guy on Wednesdays from 1 to 2. Did I say it right? Jake, the sports guy from 1 to 2 on Wednesdays?
Yes, 1 to 2, every 1 to 2.
Yeah, 1 to 2. And it's not Jake, the engineer. It's called Jake.
No, it's Jake from Sports Talk.
From Sports Talk. And he's got on his khakis. Okay, so that's what you want to be listening to. And Jake is the big sports guy. I just tuned myself into my... I just turned up the volume. I thought, am I on? And no, the volume wasn't up. Okay.
Sam, have you had a chance to listen to Jake from Sports Talk?
No, he didn't know about it. I hadn't told him.
You haven't told him?
No.
Oh, Cindy.
We haven't had a sit-down dinner so I could discuss your show.
The last time we communicated was when I was here.
Because
of the mics and everything.
This is why I have him on.
Is that the only way she talks nowadays?
This way you can hear me. So he says I mumble. I said, how can I mumble? I'm on radio. How can I be a mumbler? But he says, you mumble. I can't understand what you're saying. And maybe he doesn't want to. It's selective hearing.
Selective hearing. My father's got a bad case of that as well.
Bad case of that. But I did want to talk about Michael Phelps and his
Shark Week. Swim
with the sharks. Wow. I'm telling you, this didn't go over well. And if you missed it.
I missed it.
you need to read all his messages that they've been receiving, the tweets and stuff about this, because people were extremely disappointed because I don't know what people are thinking. They just read that one headline, that one thing, Michael Phelps swims with the sharks. See who wins. He's racing a shark. Now think about it, audience. Think about it. Do you think they're going to be able to put a shark in a lane and Michael in the next one, and the shark dives off from that stand, and they're going to, decide who wins from that event? That's probably not going to happen. So they go out to the ocean. And a shark doesn't swim in a straight line, so it's difficult to get a speed on it. But they were able to put together the speed of the shark in the water. And then they decided that they would then put Michael in this pool and did a computer-generated shark next to him.
Oh, so you didn't actually race against a real shark?
No, I'm so sorry to tell you. I'm so sorry to tell you. And that's what everybody said. I sat through an hour of this thinking I was going to see Michael Phelps swim against a shark, and it was a computer-generated. Are you crazy? What's wrong? So they were all mad at ABC for the way that they promoted it. And but I'll tell you, I saw 2 interviews with Michael Phelps on ABC, different shows, and talking about this and promoting it. And he said, I'm not actually swimming against the shark. He never said, I'm swimming with the shark. And he did this in all these interviews. And so he never lied about it or was, anything but straightforward. But people really still thought he was going to be swimming alongside a shark, that they were going to put him either out in the water and he takes off and this shark is swimming underneath him or around him. And I think about that. Does that make sense? No, it does not make sense. So anyway.
I've swam with sharks before.
You've swam with sharks before?
Yeah, I've swam in Cancun, Mexico with 3 sand sharks. Now, none of them had teeth. So
they were 80 years old.
They weren't 80 years old.
I
think they had them plucked or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
and you could swim with them.
Yeah, but you could swim. I petted them and everything. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was really cool. And they would, they had the instinct to still bite, and it would be like
nibble.
Yeah, well, it'd be like the 90-year-old woman pulling out her teeth trying to eat grits, basically.
Oh man. So. Well, that's cool, but it wasn't a great white, and this is what they had. No. This was what was promoted. He was going up against a great white to see if he could beat him. Anyway, the shark, and I'm going to tell you this, and this is a spoiler alert: the shark wins. He beat him by 2 seconds.
2 seconds? That's
2
it? 2
seconds. So that was pretty
That's
good.
pretty impressive, though.
Yeah, that's very
2 seconds.
impressive.
I would have expected a lot more than that.
If they'd had the shark in the water, Michael may have done a better time. Trying to get away from the shark, but he wasn't. So anyway, that's what happened. Besides the British Open, which I know you watched, Sam was glued to it.
Sam, what'd you think about that?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic. That Gordon Spieth is something else.
Yeah, unbelievable.
He's almost too good to be true.
To go through the front 9 that he had on Sunday, and then to blow that tee shot on 13 like that, and to still have the mental toughness to come back and rally back and end up 1 under on the day with the victory. That's
he's unbelievable. He's such a sweet little dude too. I mean,
good Texas boy.
Only 23 years old. Just think about his future.
That makes me feel bad because I'm 23.
I mean, anybody's future would be good. Probably by now he's probably got $600-700 million in the bank based on just what he's done so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yikes.
So just imagine what his future is going to be like. There's no pressure on him now.
Well, no, yeah,
really.
I mean, he's got the unrealistic expectations that were on Tiger and early on in his career. I don't think Jordan's facing that, and so I think it allows him to just play golf.
I think he has a better temperament to be able to take it on the long run.
Yeah,
too.
I agree.
He'll be a great senior too when he gets to that age.
I'll have to bring Sam on my show, and we can just talk.
Oh, he loves.
Oh, I would love to.
He loves
pick his brain about the because I know you're a boxing fan, about the Mayweather and McGregor fight. If you know anything about that,
I don't think there's anything to pick there. Every time they've done something like that in the past, boxing always wins out.
Always.
Oh, sure.
And it wins out real quick as a rule.
And the funny thing is Mayweather is this not infamous, but famous, dancer in the ring, and he, it's impossible to touch him with a solid strike, and to have, this pure, not even amateur, just novice come into the ring. I think it'll be really interesting to see if Floyd goes with his normal defensive technique, or if he actually strikes and tries to go for the KO.
Well, of course, it's just a boxing match now. If the guy could do what he does in the ring normally and use his feet and his teeth and all that other stuff like they do in that street fighting stuff, it might be a different deal. But straight boxing,
no
way.
Well, we saw Dunkirk this weekend.
Really? How was it?
Yes, I'm not going to say it until we're going to come back, and that's why I brought Drug Sam in here, was because he had to explain to me all the history behind it, because I missed that in class, totally missed that in class, and why the French are so upset about this movie. They do not like this movie, and we're going to tell you why when we come back on the Cindy Cochran Show with Sam Cochran as my special guest, and always the chatty Jake the engineer, who's always here to help bring the conversation up.
That's why you don't put me in a sports conversation, because I'll never stop.
No, I love it. No, Jake, I love it. We love you. Listen, you guys, don't go away. We will be right back. You're listening to Cindy Cochran Show, Real Reality Radio. And, it's Monday. What can I say? It's going to be better. The whole week is going to get started off right because you're listening to Cindy Cochran Show. We'll be right back.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show, with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776.
Hispanic Chamber Connections with Dr. Carlos Sanchez, President of the Woodlands Conroe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, featuring event announcements, member highlights, and more. Tuesdays at 1 p.m., broadcasting from the heart of Conroe, Texas on irlonestar.com and Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
And we're back on the Cindy Cochran Show. Thank you so much for listening and being here with us on a Monday to get your week started off just right. And I have with me a very special guest, Sam Cochran. He is my husband of almost 50 years. 50 years! Good.
When's the 50th?
Not this year, next year. Right?
This Christmas.
That's the 49th, right?
No, that's right.
This is the 49th, and then next year will be the 50th. I can't remember. And the reason, he wanted to be able to remember our anniversary, so we got married on December 24th. All my friends said, don't do it, because then you're only going to get one gift. You're going to get something for Christmas and for your anniversary. Don't do it. That's a dumb, nothing is open on December 4th to go to celebrate and all that, but we did it anyway.
I ran across an old newspaper clipping the other day of Mom and Pop, my grandparents, and they got married on Christmas Day.
Yikes. That would be even
It was like
worse.
a newspaper clipping of their 60th anniversary.
Uh-huh.
And they got married on Christmas Day.
Oh, I haven't forgotten about that. That's weird, but December 24th is strange because you're always, as soon as you have children, then you're putting all the presents together and doing all that, and there's no time to go, let's go out to eat.
Smart man, Sam.
Well, he was. He was really smart, and he always remembers
There was method to my madness.
He knew what to do. But, okay, so this weekend, I'm always complaining because I can't get Sam to go to shows that I want to see, like Baby Driver or Fate of the Furious. What is it?
Fast 8.
Okay, anyway, all those type of shows. He just can't stand, and he doesn't like anything computer generated. He likes it to be a real story that really happened and that has no special effects. That's what he wants to go see. A period piece is even, is the best. I can't stand war movies. I think they're just, it's like, okay, so it's horrible, and you're going to just bring me down and make me sad. And so Dunkirk, he's been looking forward to that. In fact, he's been thinking it's opened every weekend for the past 3 weekends. He said, isn't it open yet? Because they talk so much about it. Had a great opening, $50 million first day. Oh, my word, that's just so incredible. And when we went to the Grand to see it on Friday night, it was packed. And we walk up and all these lines, and usually we go like on Thursday night because there's not much traffic and all that. But man, it was packed, and they had a lot of movies starting Friday night. And I thought, well, these are all kids. Kids are going to go to their movies, but nobody's going to be at Dunkirk, and it was packed. And so we went in and we sat down, and I don't know why. And if I say this to you, please don't judge. I'm thinking Normandy. I'm thinking on the beaches of Normandy, and that this is when this happened. I did have some recollection of that from history, but Dunkirk, I had nothing. So the movie starts, immediately jumps in to everything. There's no setup. There's nothing. You better know your history or you are lost. And so luckily I had Sam with me, and I kept leaning over going, so why did those people, why are those, and it was just, I probably drove him crazy. Finally, I just said, oh, Cindy, just enjoy the popcorn. And that's what I did. But it was done in you'll see 3 different stories going on, and they intercut the stories. Now, if you don't like intercut stories, this may give you a warning. But it's done well. I mean, the acting is just amazing and all that. But the historical value of it, I'm going to defer to Sam and to explain. This happened a year before Sam was born, correct? 1941, this happened. It was the beginning of World War II. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
Before the United States was in the war.
Right. Because I kept thinking, well, when are we going to fly over and kill everybody? Because I thought we would be coming, like we're the cavalry. We're going to be coming and save everybody. And you never see the United States, and that's because that wasn't part of the deal. So afterwards, he's talking a lot about it, and I thought that's really interesting. But the French are upset about this movie, Sam. Why are the French upset about this movie?
Well, I think they had every right to be upset about the movie because they got short-sighted based on what really happened. When you see the movie, there's about, I'm going to be generous and say 30 seconds devoted to the French taking part in the battle. Mm-hmm. And the truth is that there were well over 100,000 French troops that were keeping the Germans off of the beach. They were fighting a rear guard defense to protect the French and the English soldiers that were trapped on the beach. There were probably about 100,000 French and maybe 100,000 English that were assigned to this rear guard action, and without that, they would have been totally slaughtered on the beach, or at least some historians think they would have. Some historians think that Hitler called off the dogs, and the reason that he called off the dogs was because of the fact that he was deluded enough to think that because the English people were related to the Germans historically, mm-hmm. If you go back in history, a lot of the monarchs were interbred between England, Germany, and France, and a lot of the European countries. That's the way they kept the peace. So he didn't hate the English. Plus, the English didn't have a huge Jewish population like other countries in Europe did. So what he thought is that if he did not destroy the British Army, that later on he might be able to get them to become allies and participate with him when he invaded Russia.
Because that's who he's really after.
That was what he really wanted, because all the resources and everything that he needed to do his world domination gig type thing were in Russia. All of the oil and the ore and whatnot, and the Ukraine and those places. That's what he really needed to do his job. So anyway, getting back to your question about why the French are mad, the French are mad, I think, just because they weren't really given much credit in that movie for what they were actually doing. And also, it didn't show the fact that there were also about 100,000 French troops evacuated off of the beach, too, in these English boats. So I think probably what it is, they just feel slighted.
Right.
Because, and another thing about the movie I noticed, being the age I am, I remember a lot about World War II, even though I was just a little kid when it ended. Because you were constantly being told the stories by your parents from that moment on, you know. Plus, I remember a lot of things about World War II, even though I was a little kid, about the mood of the people and so on and so forth. So I think people my age would appreciate that movie a lot more because they'd walk in there knowing a little bit about what was going on. And so I knew when they showed that little short clip of those 20 or 30 French guys behind the sandbags, that was representing the rear guard action of the French. But it was a lot more broad-based than that.
Well, see, and that's what happens in the very beginning, guys. This young kid is fighting in the army. He has it. He doesn't want to do this anymore. He can't take it. So he tries to get to the beaches so that he can get on a boat and get out of there. And he runs, and there's all these sandbags up, and he's just running, and like, what is going on? Who is he with? Who's against him? Who's the enemy here? And he runs up to these guys with, they're all dressed in their army garb, and they're trying to, and they've got all their rifles pointed at him as he's coming in, but they don't do anything. They let him in. He says, I'm English. didn't he tells them he's English, and so he runs right through their, the blockade they have, and then he runs to the beaches and he sees all these thousands and hundreds of thousands of people waiting, trying to get on the boats, and so he's got to figure out a way. He's just the survivor of the movie, how he's going to survive all this, and then it shows his adventure trying to make this happen, but it's all intercut with the air, because he talked about they fought by land, by sea, by
Well, they also
air.
have a scene in there where this one French guy wants to get in line with the British troops to try to get on one of those boats, and they said, "No, you go find a French line someplace."
Yeah, he said English only.
Yeah, you're not getting on an English only boat.
But there's some amazing.
They probably feel offended for being segregated in that little clip.
Oh, that's
in the movie
I didn't forgot about that. I forgot that happened. So they are. So the French are upset with this movie, but everybody else loves this movie, and so when you go, you can recognize some of those things that are going on, and it helps you with the movie. I mean, they just need a clip of Sam just describing that much of it before this starts, and then go, because all they have. It's an epic type movie, and the black screen comes up, white letters, says Dunkirk. How do you spell Dunkirk? How do you think you spell it?
Dunkirk.
Okay, is that correct? Austin is saying yes. Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I kept thinking, I'm putting this in the Facebook thing, and I'm going like, I know this is going to be like so wrong. It's probably Dunkurk or, something weird like that. But Dunkirk comes up on the screen, and then just in those white letters, and that face of black comes up and says day one at sea. And, okay. And then it shows, that happening. But there's no like in 1941, but I don't know this is happening. And there was
Again, the show was geared toward two things. First of all, where we saw it, we didn't see it in 3D. We didn't see it in IMAX.
Right.
And it was shot really to be shown in IMAX. So a lot of the visual effects, especially I would think probably the Spitfires fighting the German bombers in the Messerschmitts, would have been fairly dynamic watching it that way. So a lot of their production time and expense was probably spent in setting that type of thing up, which you don't get when you see it in just a regular movie. But unless you're somebody that knows a little bit about World War II, you miss the impact that would have gone through your head like it did mine in the Spitfire scenes. Spitfire was probably the savior of the British people, because it won the Battle of Britain. The Battle of Britain was when the Luftwaffe was cut loose on England in the British Isles. Hitler thought, because he was told by Goering, that they could defeat him by bombing him into submission, and that proved to be wrong. But the reason it proved to be wrong was because Hitler spent all of his assets bombing the cities, and in the meantime the English moved the Spitfire factories out to the country and were able to produce enough Spitfires to fight off the Luftwaffe. And they decimated the Luftwaffe every time they came over, so they quit coming in the daytime, started coming at night. And by that time they had their anti-aircraft built up to the point to where they could shoot down enough planes to make it so distasteful that finally they quit using airplanes. And that's why technologically the Germans came up with the U-2 rocket and the buzz bombs that they used, because the airplanes just weren't working. But when you watch that movie and you saw the Spitfire shooting down those German planes, that's what came into my head, was that was a tool that saved the English bacon in World War II.
Well, when we watched that, it was really exciting. I like those scenes, and those look very realistic. The way the guys had to fight and what they were up against and all was really good. And usually I don't like that kind of stuff. I hear the music. We got to go to a break, and I love this. Honey, you're so smart about that. I can't even break in and say, sorry, we got to take a break.
Well, I got a few questions for him when we come back, too.
Okay. I knew that you would. I just knew it. And Austin, may have some questions as well, because I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so you're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show, Real Reality Radio. We're talking Dunkirk. We'll be right back.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? The Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your question. Get seen on TV or YouTube and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Sponsor your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
And you're back on the Cindy Cochran Show. We've been talking history. Yes. Victory at Sea. I don't know if you're old enough. I know these guys aren't old enough to remember Victory at Sea, but that was a black and white movie that showed all the footage from World War II, and my dad would sit there and tell me all about this and that and what was happening, and he just loved that. And it was like the most bonding time I had with my dad is for him to explain that and how excited he was about that. He said to me, he said, the thing on the ships, when he was on a ship, and the gunnery, those, what are they called, turret? The ones that they'd hold, and as the planes fly over, they,
Anti-aircraft guns?
Yeah. Okay, something like that. The guns that would shoot the planes down. But anyway, he said, it's funny because people would think that all you had to do is, line it up, and then you've got this scope on it, and you start shooting. And he said it was such a hit and miss thing. They would just start shooting in the air and hope the plane would fly across it, and they could get it. And he said because they were so awkward to try and handle those things. And he said that when Iwo Jima happened, he said they were all on binoculars watching, and when they watched that flag go up, he got to see the flag go up off the ship that he was on. He was in the Navy, and how amazing that was. And then he got he was late getting back to the ship, and they considered him AWL, and he had to try and catch up with another ship and to get back to the ship. And so he said it just about ruined him his career after doing all of that and then being late getting back to your ship.
Is AWL AWOL?
AWL AWOL. Did I say AWOL or did I say?
You said AWL.
Oh.
So I assumed
absence without,
leave.
What is? Yeah.
Absence without leave.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I've never heard it refer. I've always just known it as going AWOL. I didn't even know it stood for absence without leave. That's interesting.
Really interesting. Yeah. I just wanted to let you know. Text saying the stream is down.
The stream online is down?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll mess with that. So Sam, I had a question about the outside of the French involvement in Dunkirk. Was it fairly accurate, the movie historically overall? Because I know Hacksaw Ridge was very accurate, and that was a very good movie as well. I really enjoyed that one. So when I watch a history movie, I want it to be accurate. I feel like if it's not, it loses out.
Yeah, I think it was to a certain extent. But one of the things I told Cindy when we came out of the show, and she had mentioned earlier, I don't like computer generation. More troops, more planes, and all that type of thing. But this movie could have used that just from the simple reason that it didn't, I don't think, give a fair depiction to what the actual scope was of the rescue. There had to be a lot more boats than what it showed, and there had to be the way that they shot it. You didn't see 300,000 troops down there on that beach, and that's how many were actually there.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad mouth in the movie. It was a good movie, and I think that, I'll give you an example. When I came out, there was a lady who had brought some teenage girls to that show, which was kind of a
and
weird,
boys too. There was
weird
boys
deal,
and girls. Yeah.
But there were, I don't know, 5 or 6 girls and a couple of boys there, and they were full of questions to this lady, and she was a lady probably in her early 50s. She was having to use her iPad to answer their questions, And I was tempted to go over and fill in some of the questions they were asking.
Go take the Google answers out of there.
Yeah, but the movie could have just had a lot more fill in and prescript that would enable younger people, to get a little bit better feel of it who weren't historically versed.
Yeah.
You mentioned Hacksaw Ridge. It's funny, I saw that the next night on TV. Again, I had seen it in the movies. That was a much better depiction, I think, relative to reality about what was going on.
And it stayed with one thing. I mean, the whole thing was around that guy. So you had enough time to build all your emotions and build everything, that you prejudiced or whatever with this guy, because they gave enough time to it. And it was done so well. And
I guess if I was going to put in a nutshell what I'm trying to say, it's emotional impact. Mm-hmm. The emotional impact of what you're looking at was better with Hacksaw Ridge than it was with Dunkirk.
It pulled at the heartstrings a little more.
Yeah, because I don't think they didn't do a good job of telling the real story. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know how you'd go about doing that. I'm not a script writer, and I don't know how you would preface it to give people a 6-week course in the history of World War II, so they'd understand it better.
No, there could have been so many more things of narrative that would have helped people like me to understand. But when the boats came, people were bringing their boats that they fish in, boats that they use for their jobs or whatever, and they're bringing those boats in, and courageously, under the guise of the Germans coming in and shooting everybody, that these boats came in anyway and picked up these boys to take them home, and how proud they were of him, and that they were risking their lives to come pick up these boys because their boats weren't able to get to them, and they couldn't get close enough to the beach to get the guys in, and all the problems that they had with that. And they'd line these guys up on these piers, these long piers, and then the Germans would come in and just take them all out. It was just sitting ducks. It was horrible.
But this movie made enough of a promotional impact that for it to make $55 million in the opening weekend is huge, and I think a lot of people wanted to see it.
Well, my own personal opinion is based on what you have a choice of when you go to the movies these days. It was a great movie if you want to rate it that way. Okay.
Well, but you compare it to the other blockbuster, the one that was supposed to be the killer this weekend was Valerian, and it tanked.
It tanked.
$23.5 million. It was expected to compete with Guardians, and it didn't even come close.
Oh, well, that is exactly what Sam will not go to the movies to see.
Because that's all CGI.
All CGI. Like watching Avatar or something. But that's what I thought it was going to be close to, was Avatar. And I was thinking, this is going to be cool. I love this movie. This is going to be great. The trailers were good.
Well, yeah, the concept behind it is 1,000 worlds in one little one little area. I was going to say condo. 1,000 worlds in one condo.
I didn't mean the movie was like Avatar, but it was just the CGI part of it.
Oh,
and how they
course.
did that. But I was looking forward to going and seeing that, and now it came out with such horrible reviews. Now, that doesn't mean I still won't go see it, because sometimes I don't believe the critics on it.
Yeah, but if that, usually I won't spend the money to go see it.
Yeah.
That'll be, I'll wait till it comes out.
That's what I tell people. Go to the movie and see it. Mm-hmm. Go to the movie because the popcorn's good, or wait till the VHS comes out, and then
VHS,
and then wait till it comes on TV.
VHS.
That's what I used to.
I don't think we have VHS technology anymore.
No, that's what I used to tell people. Like, is it a good movie? Wait till the VHS comes out. You don't say beta. It used to be beta, and then it went to nobody.
Oh, you're really
anymore.
dating yourself.
For 10 years from now, you won't be talking movie houses anymore.
That is so true.
Or less than that, the way things are going.
No.
I hope not, because you can't get that good of popcorn anywhere else.
No, nowhere else. That's exactly right.
Well, that's a good cue for a good entrepreneur.
Figure
out a way people can get that quality popcorn at home.
Yes. How do you package
That's
that?
it, and they ought to. That's what some of these network people that ought to do.
See,
Netflix, for example, if they had a popcorn brand.
their own popcorn.
There we go, and we're going to put Sam's face on it.
That's right. That's right. So he kind of looks like that Orville guy. Anyway, okay, guys, we will be right back. You're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show, and we've got Sam Cochran as our special guest. But don't go away. There's more to come.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
This is Rick, TRC. Every Monday through Friday from 3 to 7, I play today's country hits on my show, Afternoons with Lone Star. The type of music that makes you want to get off your seat, stomp your feet, sing along at the top of your lungs, and not care who hears. On Lone Star Community Radio, Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1, and as always on worldwide, irlonestar.com.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, we're back.
Oh boy.
We're back. And now we can talk about Bud the Parrot.
Oh, yes. Bud
From
the Parrot.
Dunkirk to Bud the Parrot. I'm telling you, I love the range of this show. Honey, have you heard about Bud the Parrot?
About 15 minutes ago when you first mentioned it.
On the way over here. Okay, we have a YouTube version of this story. Let me preface this just a little bit. This happened a year ago, and they're just now maybe winding down this whole event that happened, this crime scene. And this reminds me of something that this is in honor of Bob Berry and Who Done It. So,
have you come up with a new title for Mondays yet?
No, because the police chief won't get back to me about who's going to replace Bob Berry in doing Who Done It. So, but you have a murder scene. This guy was shot 5 times, and his second wife, that he's married to at the time, survived a bullet that went to her head. And so I want you to figure out, as you listen to this story, this is the recount on the channel there in Michigan, is where this happened. So this is Bud the Parrot, and what does a parrot have to do with a murder crime? Okay, roll it, Jake.
What does it take to be a fighter?
It takes heart,
Dedication.
strength.
Integrity.
It takes compassion.
Well, you've got to have the commercial.
Got to have the commercials.
This is the commercial
I
going
loaded
into
this
it.
up already, and the commercial already played, and now it's here we go.
Yesterday, about that foul-mouthed parrot that apparently witnessed his owner's murder and mimics what may have been Martin Durham's last words. It's a story that has already spread across the globe. New tonight, as the investigation into the year-old murder continues, 24-hour News 8's Ken Kolker met Bud and his new owner.
Shut up.
This is Bud. He'll be 20 here in September.
Since 2 weeks after his owner, Martin Durham, was killed in his home, Bud has repeated it over and over. The African gray parrot is now owned by Durham's first wife, who had owned it with him before they got divorced.
Yeah. Boy, and that's Marty's voice. Marty used to always say that to my kids.
She says the bird often talks in Martin Durham's voice. At least a few times a week, she says, it seems to replay the murder.
It's intense when it happens. My house turns cold.
Durham was shot 5 times in his home in May 2015. His wife, Glenna, survived a bullet wound to the head. Now she's identified in police reports as a suspect in a murder and attempted suicide.
He was there to see it all, and he heard it. It imprinted in his brain. He can't let it go, and that's awful.
Bud won't perform in front of an audience. While we didn't catch much on our camera, we did hear him utter an expletive off camera.
Is it at all possible that he could have heard it on television?
Well, maybe, but he's using Marty's voice.
The Newaygo County prosecutor says he has no plans to use the parrot in court. That's no surprise to a local legal expert, Muskegon attorney Michael Walsh. He says there's no way to prove what that bird is mimicking.
How did it get there? And there's no reliable way of making that determination, that you can't rule out that the bird witnessed a homicide or that the bird witnessed something on TV.
I mean, I don't think he would be able to help the case, but I think it puts, I don't know how to describe it. It puts the emotion out there, like, you know, there's a dead man.
And we're back. Well, what just got me is if you listen to it, and you can go to Google the parrot that convicts his owner's murder. Do something like that, and it'll come right up.
So, what shocks me about that is how deep of a voice the parrot can go.
Right, to mimic.
Yeah, to mimic. That's crazy.
But imagine when they found out, when they came to the crime scene to figure this out, and this parrot keeps doing this, you know, going over this, and the woman who survived, which was his second wife, a gunshot to the head was what they're putting this as, is that murder-suicide. She tried to commit suicide after she shot her husband 5 times.
Yeah, correct.
And so that's what the bullet wound to the head was her own by her own hand. And I think that the parrot not being used when the lady, you know, his first wife says, yes, this parrot often would talk in the same voice as his owner. And so now they're going to disqualify this and they can't use it. I think they should use it. Why?
There's too much.
What?
There's too much indiscrepancies there.
Well, the only thing is that maybe he heard it on TV, but it's the same voice as this guy. They could play a recording of the guy's voice and go like, yeah, that's him. Well, why wouldn't that stand in court? that would be great. But what a movie. Think about putting a movie together, and there's the parrot that sees everything. It's just like the Tesla.
Tesla the car?
No, Tesla isn't that the
Nikola Tesla?
No, the speaker that picks up everything. You say dial 911.
Alexa.
Alexa. I know it was something.
Tesla's the car.
That's okay. Well, I was testing you guys. You did well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyway, but remember they were trying to get the playback and the data from this one where there was a fight and someone was shot or killed, and they were trying to get that data from the server to find out what was said, because it was on. They believe it was on, and they were having a fight about the privacy thing. Like, please. But to think those things are recording everything that you're saying. I mean, this is really Big Brother at its finest, and that. And then we go back to.
You're not one of those conspiracists, are you?
No. But to think, like, we've got all this technology that's recording everything, that knows what's going on, and then it may come down to a parrot that actually saw it. That's where they're going to get their evidence
So
from.
Sam, don't ever get a parrot.
Is the moral to the story, if you're going to shoot somebody, shoot the parrot first? Is that the moral to the story?
Very good. Yeah, I think
sounds like it.
I think that's true. I wanted to ask you, Jake. Jake, is it going to rain today?
We got a 20% chance.
Because I left Maddie out in the cage outside.
Poor thing.
I know, and as I was looking up as I was walking back, I said, "This is a little cloudy. It looks like it may rain today." But I got to tell you, this breakthrough I have with Maddie, my dog. She's 7 months old now, and Sam may not find this too exciting, but I believe that she is really trying to talk to me now. I have taught her to do her inside voice. That, you know, instead of barking, I tell her to do your inside voice, and then she starts going. It sounds like the cartoon. Shoot, why don't I start stuff and I go like, I can't remember what the. Anyway, but this dog this dog is trying to talk to me. I can tell, and I'll say, do you need to go outside? I said, well, do you need to go TT? And then we go outside. And that's, so isn't that, I think there's something there. I think I may be onto something. So it's not, I may call in a dog whisperer or something, but I
think you need a hobby.
Hush now, honey. I think this could make us a lot of money if I could learn to talk to dogs. But it's so pitiful because the dog is trying to converse. It really is. Have you ever had a dog that you feel like is trying to tell you something? Both Jake and Austin are shaking their head, and Sam won't even look at me.
If you are tuning into this for the Cindy Cochran Show for the first time, you may not understand why I'm laughing hysterically back here. But if you listen to Cindy Cochran on a regular basis, you know why I'm laughing.
It's perfectly understandable. Okay, well, I've got video that I have up on the Cindy Robinson Cochran Facebook page. That's my personal page. And you are all invited to go to that and watch this dog after I tell her to go to her inside voice, and then watch her go right to the door after she does it, and she barks once that she has to go to. It's just amazing, and she barks twice if she has to go poop. Okay, so anyway,
but first, like the show's Facebook page, and follow it on YouTube,
do that first.
Google Play, and iTunes.
Yeah, I'm here live Monday through Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday, the best of, if we can find one. Yes, and this probably have to be one of them, right? Yeah. This has to be. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. You're listening to Cindy Cochran Show, Real Reality Radio, and we want to just invite you back. Please be here tomorrow, all the week.
Sam.
Oh, and Sam, hey, thank you for being here. We're going out to lunch, right?
Yeah, you pay.
What? All right, we'll see you later. Hi, this is Cindy Cochran, and I want to thank you for checking out the Cindy Cochran Show and invite you to listen live every weekday morning from 10 to 11 on FM 106.1 and on 104.5 and globally on irlonestar.com. The show you just fell in love with was recorded and will be posted on our podcast channels on iTunes and Google Play. You can even watch the show on our YouTube and on TV with our City TV Channel 12 on Suddenlink. So make sure to subscribe to keep up with me. My Facebook page, The Cindy Cochran Show, is always a good place to contact me through messages, to interact live on the air and ask questions, make suggestions, whatever.
Thanks for checking out this podcast of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. If you enjoyed this recording, make sure to check out our past shows online at irlonestar.com or their respective video or podcast formats on YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes. If you have any questions regarding the show, either it being about sponsorships or questions for the host, contact the station manager at dick@irlonestar.com or call the station at 936-647-3776. This show was recorded in downtown Conroe, Texas at the Lone Star Community Radio Studios, and Lone Star Community Radio reserves all rights to this recording and images.